Your body is sending you warning signs right now, but alcohol has trained you to ignore every single one of them. So in this video, I'm exposing the 8 dark signs that this drug is destroying you from the inside out. And the first sign is probably the most dangerous because most people think it means that they're getting stronger. So, the first sign is tolerance, and it's the one that tricks everybody because society kind of celebrates it. Maybe you remember back when 2 drinks used to be enough. Maybe the world gets soft, you feel warm, you laugh a bit easier. But if you've noticed that 2 drinks barely registers anymore and you need 3, maybe 4, that's your tolerance starting to set in. And the weird thing when this happens is your friends, they might slap you on the back. They might validate you. Whoa, you can really handle your booze. And you might even feel proud of it. I mean, I used to feel this way. We think it means that we're strong, that we've got that cast iron stomach. But this is not a superpower. Tolerance is scar tissue. So think about it like this. The first time you cut yourself, the wound bleeds and it hurts and it screams for your attention. If you were to keep cutting that very same place, the skin would start to knit itself together and become tougher, denser, and numb, which means that you would stop feeling the blade. That doesn't necessarily mean that the knife is dulled, it just means that you've stopped noticing how deep the cuts are going. When you need more alcohol to feel the exact same buzz, it means that your brain has changed its physical structure. It started to numb the receptors that make you feel good. It's literally closing the doors because the noise is too loud. And by the way, tolerance is the #1 predictor of addiction. It's not a sign of strength, it's a sign that your body is working overtime just to keep you standing. Another reason why tolerance happens is because your liver becomes more efficient at metabolizing alcohol. Tragically, one way your liver achieves this is by activating a secondary metabolic system called MEOS. In non-drinkers or light drinkers, the MEOS is silent, but when you keep on drinking, the MEOS system becomes activated and it generates far more harmful byproducts than the primary system. So while you feel the effects less and less, your liver and body are being destroyed at an ever-accelerating pace. The second sign has to do with your mornings, and if you've started to notice that your hangovers feel different, this will explain why. See, when your hangovers are starting to get bad, your body is actually sending you an SOS signal and just most people ignore it. When I was in my 20s, many of us would drink all night, wake up, drink a glass of water and just get to work. Yeah, sure, we'd all be complaining about being tired, having a headache, but by around lunchtime, it was gone. And if that sounds like a distant memory to you as well, there's a reason. See, a hangover isn't just a headache. It can feel like this sickness in your soul. You feel it physically, mentally, and emotionally. Some people wake up with that anxiety, their heart pounding, that sense of doom, almost like this guilt. And I'm sure you've heard of the word hangxiety. When I was late in my journey, I suffered with this all the time. So here's what's happening under the hood. When you drink, alcohol suppresses your nervous system. It stimulates a chemical called GABA, which relaxes you. It also blocks a chemical called glutamate, which generally makes you anxious. And this is a bit like holding a beach ball underwater. So when the alcohol wears off, the ball shoots up because your brain has been suppressed for hours, so it rebounds. And when this happens, it floods you with anxiety chemicals. So your system goes into overdrive. So it's not just a hangover, it's a literal state of chemical panic. You might tell yourself you just need a coffee or you just need to sleep it off, but deep down, you know something different is going on. Your body is struggling to clear the poison. Now, the third sign is where it gets a bit darker because this is when the damage starts leaking into your normal everyday life. Even when you're completely sober, you might notice that you feel anxious and on edge for no apparent reason. And I'm not talking about the hangover anymore. I'm talking about day to day. And there's an explanation for this. Picture this. You're sitting at a desk, watching TV, you've not drank for 24 hours, and you should be perfectly able to relax. But something's off. You're fidgeting, you're tapping your fingers, you feel this pressure in your chest, this urge to move, and that on-edge feeling is your nervous system screaming for its pacifier, for alcohol. See, what's happening is that if you've been drinking regularly, your body has gotten so used to being sedated that it expects alcohol to calm it down. And when that sedation doesn't come, your nerves don't know how to act. They start firing at random, they're overreactive. You're like a car engine that's idling too high. You're in neutral, but the engine doesn't drop below 2000 RPM, it's restless. And that restlessness in you is a withdrawal symptom. It's a mild one, so you might miss it. You might think, I'm just stressed, I'm tired, I'm overworked, I had too much coffee. It's got nothing to do with that. I used to remember this feeling. I would check my phone constantly. I'd always go to the fridge and look for food and not be hungry and close it and go back and just anything, just fidgeting. And I never connected this to my drinking problem. I just thought I was a active, kind of nervous, on-edge person. It wasn't. It was my body begging me to calm the noise. And it's a dangerous cycle. You end up drinking to calm down, but then guess what happens? The next day, the drinking causes jitteriness, and then you drink again. That is the loop of alcohol addiction. The fourth sign involves your gut, and this one is brutal because people start to blame everything except the alcohol itself. Oh, but I think my body doesn't respond well to gluten anymore. It might have been the curry last night. I'm stressed. Listen, if your stomach has been giving you trouble, there's a very good chance that the real culprit is alcohol. See, alcohol is not just a liquid or a drug, but it's an irritant. Think about what we use alcohol for, let's say in the garage. We use it to strip paint, we use it to clean grease, and when you pour that stuff in your stomach, what do you think happens? It does something very similar. It irritates the protective lining of your stomach. This lining is there to protect you from acid, and alcohol thins it. This leaves your stomach walls exposed to strong digestive acids. The tissue gets inflamed, it gets red and raw, and this is called gastritis. Gastritis feels like a dull ache that keeps coming back. It feels like you are always full of air. You feel bloated because your digestion has stopped working correctly, and the alcohol stops your stomach from emptying food properly. So food kind of sits there, it ferments and it creates this gas. And if you ignore this, it doesn't just stay as a stomach ache. It can actually turn into ulcers, which can turn into internal bleeding. The fifth sign, people actually laugh about this, but it's kind of sad, and when you understand what's really happening in your brain, I'm sure you'll stop joking about it, but I'm talking here about memory gaps. And this is actually brain damage occurring in real time. I've had it before. I've woken up, I've looked at my phone, and I see a bunch of texts and calls, and I'm like, what? I don't even remember doing this. And it sends shivers down my spine even telling you about it now. It's so embarrassing. But I've done it where I've had an argument with somebody in the middle of the night. I've ordered a pizza, and I'm like, I've just got no recollection of it. And we call this blacking out. And I remember when I was in America and I did the exchange semester at USF, I got introduced to this term, blacked. And the people in the fraternity, the young men, they'd say, oh, I'm going out tonight and I'm getting blacked, as in I'm going to get blackout drunk. But this is a medically terrifying event. It's not something to joke around about. It suggests that the alcohol level in your blood was high enough to disrupt the hippocampus, the brain's main memory recording hub. So instead of pressing the camera's record button, the system just pauses, so the night never gets saved. The camera is still on, you're still walking and talking, but nothing gets saved to the hard drive. Your brain is temporarily shutting down some of its most critical systems. And here's the scary part. People who have already had one blackout seem more likely to have another, suggesting that the brain doesn't bounce back as well after each episode. It's terrifying when this happens. In fact, my mum once told me a story of somebody who woke up in Spain. She'd met this person in Alcoholics Anonymous, but he drank and was in England, and then woke up in Spain, and that's where his memory came back. And I'm not saying things are going to get that bad for you, but blackouts are damn scary. And if you're noticing memory lapses, it's a sign. So the sixth sign is when the damage starts showing up on the outside, and this is the one that everybody else notices before you do. See, if you've looked in the mirror lately and thought that you look kind of tired or maybe older, this may explain why. Just take a look in the mirror. Look at your skin. Does it look bright and bouncy? Or does it look kind of flat? Is it red? Is it inflamed? See, alcohol is a diuretic. This is just a fancy word that means that it forces water out of your body. For every glass of alcohol you drink, your body expels much more water than you took in. And it's starting to suck the moisture out of every cell in your body. See, your skin is the largest organ that you have. When it's dehydrated, it loses its elasticity. It stops snapping back. So it starts to sag and the colour drains away because the blood flow is poor. You start to look kind of washed out. And this is accelerated decay. The nutrients that your skin needs, vitamin A, vitamin C, are being destroyed by the alcohol. Your collagen, the stuff that keeps you looking young, is breaking down. But the damage runs deeper than dry skin. See, inside every cell, alcohol ignites a process called oxidative stress. Your mitochondria leak reactive oxygen species, which are called free radicals, that bounce around like sparks in a dry forest. See, these sparks attach attack cell membranes, they shred DNA, and they cripple the collagen factories that keep skin firm. Normally, your body keeps them in check with vitamin C and E, but alcohol both depletes those antioxidants and speeds up radical production. The result is a double hit. Less water, less defense, and more microscopic fires that leave skin dull, inflamed, and older than its years. You might use expensive creams or just desperately try to hydrate yourself the next day, but you can't just do this with dehydration. The alcohol steals the very fluid that makes you look alive. So the seventh sign is a twisted irony that confuses a lot of people. See, while alcohol is drying out your skin, it's simultaneously making your face swell up like a balloon. If you've ever looked in the mirror and seen those puffy eyes and the cheeks are round and swollen and the jawlines disappeared, this is alcohol bloat. See, your body is smart. When it senses poison, it starts to release hormones that make you retain water and salt. Your body starts to hold on to every single drop of water that it can find. It stores this water in the tissues of your face and your gut. It's a survival mechanism. Your body is saying, we need water to flush this toxin out, so don't let any water leave. So you puff up and alcohol causes your blood vessels to expand. This brings more fluid into the tissues. You end up looking inflamed because you're inflamed. Your entire system is swollen. You might notice that by 4 p.m., your face looks a bit more normal. That's because your body has finally processed some of the toxins and let go of that water. But every morning, the cycle starts again. Swell, deflate, swell, deflate. Eventually, the skin stretches and the puffiness doesn't go away as easily. Now, the eighth sign boils down to your sleep, and this might just explain why you're exhausted no matter how much sleep you think you get. And this destroys people's quality of life, and they don't even know why it's happening. So here's what happens to many drinkers. They crash, they hit the pillow, and they're out cold. Sometimes, when drinking, you might sleep for 9 or 10 hours. But then when the alarm goes off, it's like you've been hit by a truck. You're dragging yourself through the day, you're downing coffees to function, and you might feel like you slept great because you fell asleep so quickly. But actually, this isn't good quality sleep, it's nothing more than sedation. So real sleep has cycles. One of the most important ones is REM sleep, or rapid eye movement. This is when you dream. This is when your memories are stored and your emotions are processed. So alcohol suppresses REM sleep, throwing your entire night's sleep off balance. When you go to bed with alcohol in your system, the drug knocks you straight into a deep, slow wave sleep. Then it jerks you back out of it too soon. After that, your REM cycles arrive late, get chopped short, or vanish altogether. The result is you wake up with muscles that haven't been fully repaired and a brain that's never finished its nightly housekeeping, so you don't feel truly rested. It's a bit like charging your phone with a broken cable. It's plugged in all night, but in the morning, the battery is still red. You're walking around with a 60% charge, just wondering why you're so exhausted.